is the company that manages the waiting list for affordable housing in Toronto.
Oh, I see.
It's a City of Toronto agency.
Okay.
They have about 25,000 people on their waiting list.
Okay.
So there's just basically the vacancy experience in seniors housing, in subsidized housing is better than in regular housing.
I see.
It's basically zero.
Yeah.
In the 11 years I've been involved with it, I've never seen a suite go vacant, like
I got
for lack of a tenant,
Yeah,
not one
yeah,
in one
yeah.
building for 1 month.
So sorry for interruption. Their main part is to look for the people, to provide the accommodation to the people. What is their main part?
Their main thing, they do a whole bunch of different services for people that are struggling with their income level, for seniors.
Okay.
They have quite a website to tell you all the stuff that they do. So housing is just one of the things that they do.
Oh, I see. Okay.
The other group there, Bellwoods, is a not-for-profit that takes care of people with disabilities.
So those are the managing people.
Those are the
Wellwood Center.
Bellwood Center are the persons with disabilities.
Okay, I see.
They're in wheelchairs.
Oh, I see.
That's why all the common doors are supported with these automatic openers.
Okay.
And this is the developer here, Mahogany Management.
Mahogany Management. So they are the developer for this one.
Right.
Okay, good.
So the anomalies for social housing are basically they're all one bedrooms.
Okay.
They're not a variety of suite sizes. They're all one bedrooms. They tend to be small. There's no underground parking. They tend to not have cars, so there's a much lower parking requirement.
What size are they?
They're about I would say 600 feet, let's say, on average. I've got a rent roll with square footages on.
Okay,
You can see
yeah,
them. There's one stack that's quite small, and the rest are all about that size.
So that includes the kitchen, washroom, something? Or
Yeah, there's the full kitchens, washrooms. The disabled suites have barrier-free washrooms,
I see,
barrier-free stoves.
Okay.
You can kneel under the stove. There's no oven
So it's
in there.
customly designed, something like that?
Yeah, it's the same footprint. It's just the doors are a little wider. There's a lot of bars, a lot of grab bars, and a lot of but the washrooms are barrier-free.
Okay.
We can get in them on a later visit. This was just such short notice we came.
That's okay. That's okay.
Talking about the grants in a generic sense, and it was saying, and again, these numbers can all be wrong, so we have to verify them, that there was $350 million, which I assumed, by the way the article was written, was earmarked for Ontario, and that the Ontario government had agreed to match those funds. So when I put it together, I said, that's $700 million, right? If they only were doing things 50-50 on a grant for a building, in not even leveraging past that, instead of a third, 75%, that's $1.4 billion that's put into this category for creating this level of housing, which in my mind actually makes sense because it addresses the need that everybody's saying exists, right? What ended up happening is there was very few people ending up picking up and filling in this need. But if you looked at the total number of units that seem to be coming into the market every year, they were, 300, 400, 500. It wasn't 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. It was a very small percentage. And so when I was looking at the numbers in my mind, I'm going, there's no one that's closely filling the need with respect to the amount of money that seems to be available. So maybe Vern has a better idea on what those actual numbers are. I'm not sure.
Well, I was kind of actually, while you were speaking, thinking about backing into it the other way in terms of putting a measure on the need relative to the supply. Basically, it's a classic demand-supply issue. With 25,000 people on Better Living's list just here in Toronto, then in this particular building's case, it took $120,000 to per unit, which is the amount of the grant, to get this building supplied. So just for simple math, if I back that off to 100,000, I would be saying, well, it'd be $25 million if it was only 1,000. But then if I have to go to another 100, I have to put 2 more zeros, and then I back it off, and I see, to clear that waiting list at $100,000 a unit, they'd have to put in $2.5 billion. So they'd have to put in 4 times the amount that they're kicking around right now just to clear Better Living's seniors, low-income seniors list. All of the lists around Toronto for mental health clients, low-income people that aren't seniors, persons with disabilities, all these other disadvantaged groups that need supportive housing, is about $55,000 the last time I looked at it. It's a major article in the Toronto Star about 24 months ago, and they added up all the lists. And there's battered women's shelters, and you add them all up. There's thousands and thousands of people on all of these lists, and when you add them all up, it adds up to probably pushing north of 60,000 now just in the GTA. So this is just 25,000 in this category, so for $2.5 billion. So you're basically looking at the fact that even if they do throw the $700 million out and it all gets deployed, you still won't have addressed 10 or 15% of the need.
And no one is deploying it. And to give you an idea of just scope and scale, when we talk about 55,000 units, it sounds like a lot of units, right? If you look at Metro Toronto Housing, Metro Toronto Housing right now has over 125,000 units. That one department alone in the city is managing over 125,000 units. So that is just one piece of what's going on, and that's more product than the entire province of Prince Edward Island has, right? So it's a big number. So the idea of being able to say, is there an ability for us to grow this product offering, to grow this into a significant piece that's addressing a significant segment of the market? And I think that the opportunity is mind-bogglingly huge to actually make this work. I don't see there being any restraints on this. I see as fast as we could possibly deploy capital and as fast as we could possibly coordinate, if we just actually sat down with one of these agencies and said, we want to be the guys that build product for you, I got to believe that one of them will give us enough that we could not possibly actually, in our minds, comprehend a solution to actually make it work. We actually have to make this into something much bigger. And I think that's where Vern, has talked to me about doing that, generating some significant capital. So if we could actually put something together where we raised $50, $75 million that actually represented half of that money going forward in the worst case scenario, and then worked out a deal where we could actually get $50 to $75 million in matching funds and grants to actually say, okay, we got $150 million. We're all thinking that we've done something spectacular, right? To drop in the bucket, right? Not even close to what we need. We need to actually be in a situation where we can raise $500, $750 million. We need to be able to raise real huge amounts of capital to actually even take the first step into this market. So what I'm suggesting is we could actually narrow our segment down, be very specific, and build product that 20 years from now isn't a single purpose product. It's got a opportunity to do many things with it. And you'll see this is not a single purpose product. This product, if you had it today and it was yours, you would feel very comfortable with calling this a rental product. Even though some of the units have been specifically designed, you're never going to think that you can never rent that product into the market, right? At the rates that you're doing this. So, and my problem in my head to actually resolve this need is what Vern has painted as the picture, which is said confidentially to me, and I'm not sure how much he will share, is the idea of actually creating a way of injecting large amounts of capital into this market to actually become a player in it. And I think it has to start with raising 50 to 75 million to just make the first step going in that first year to actually demonstrate how easy this is to do. And then once we actually make that go, to expand it into something bigger. And I'm not going to share any of the information that Vern has against his, but he could tell you what it is. I'm not sure if he wants to actually be broadcasting this to the planet.